Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. This one is slightly different than my normal ones, but I get asked this question all the time. What do you think is the best kit in Skywars as a whole? What do you use in solo insane? What do you use in solo normal? What do you do the best with? So I figured I would make this into an entire video going in depth and showing you some clips of each of these kits that I personally think are the best for me and maybe potentially just overall the best. But obviously these are all opinions, so you feel free to disagree and let me know why you disagree or add some constructive additions in the comments, because I am very curious to see what you guys use. But I think these are the ones that I've established are the best personally. I'm going to split this list into the two categories, solo normal and solo insane. We're going to start with solo insane, and I want to run through the kits that I use most in there and I think that are dominant in solo insane. And then we'll go over to solo normal. I'll talk about some of the kits I've already mentioned and some of the new ones that I basically never use in solo insane and only solo normal. Now, the very first one, very obvious if you watch my channel at all, is the scout kit for solo insane. Now, a lot of people think that the scout kit is incredibly overpowered, and I actually disagree with you. If you think about it, you only get 3 speed pots that are a little over 10 seconds, especially if you get a perfect splash. You're going to be looking at about 14 seconds of speed each, which is actually all 3 of those combined are still less than one single speed pot that you'd find on the map or your own island. Honestly, if you're rushing middle, you're probably going to not even use the rest of your speed pots. I typically don't. So that's for that reason alone, I think it's not actually all that overpowered, as the normal one would give you like a minute and 7 seconds if it's a splash and like a minute and 28 or something if it's drinkable. But by far, it fits my playstyle. Rush, 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 kill, kill, kill. It's perfect for those type of mentalities, so that's why it fits me perfectly, and that's why I do so well with it. I just like moving fast and not wasting my time, and usually you can either chase down people that are running pretty easily, or you can run away yourself if you find yourself low. Obviously, it also helps with strafing around people and getting good combos. It's very hard for other people to hit you out of a combo if they don't have speed and you do, because you just take so little knockback going that fast. There's not a lot of explanation I need to put in there, because it's pretty obvious how good speed is in Minecraft, so that is why it's at number 1 on my list. Coming in at number 2 is actually the troll kit. Now that one may surprise a lot of you, and I'll explain exactly why I think that it is number 2 and second best in Insane Skywars. You not only get full leather armor, which you may not think is a lot, but if you use that in a way to replace armor that you don't get on your island, such as a chest plate or legs, you are already technically better off than you would have been if you had a kit without any armor. But obviously, in addition to the leather armor, which is minimal, but it still can help and save your life, you get 16 cobwebs. It's by far enough cobwebs to cobweb every single person that you need to that game, and they have so many different functions. The main one being you can catch people that are severely outgearing you off guard and actually just destroy them. If you get a perfect cobweb on them, it's very hard for them to get out of it typically, unless they have water on them, or if they're able to break it quickly, or if you don't get a perfect one. And so you can actually kill people with double your gear pretty easily, which obviously in itself is an incredible ability, and you can do it like 16 times if you really have to. Obviously there's not that many people in a solo game, so you don't really have to, so you have multiple shots at it as well. But it's not only an offensive weapon, even though I use it almost, I would say 95% as an offensive weapon and 5% as a defensive weapon. And what I mean by that is you can actually place it on your own feet, like you've seen in this video, to avoid getting KB'd off the map. I don't do that a lot. I really should, because it's a great tactic, but I almost just don't trust it enough. But it's super solid. If you get in the middle of a cobweb, it is very hard for someone to hit you out of it, which is obvious because it's very hard for them to get out of it when you put them in it, so it makes sense. I used it in the few games I played to actually save myself from potentially getting knocked off the map myself. And the third ability of a cobweb is obviously to MLG if you have to. That's obviously a last resort, because water's a lot quicker and more effective, because you have to fight your way out of the cobweb at the end, and that could result in your death. But it can also save you if you do not have anything else and you have to cobweb MLG. That works. Now, the third and final kit that I use primarily in solo insane is actually the Enderman class, which also may surprise you because you may think it's not actually all that good, and I can definitely see where people are coming from there. It does give you slowness 5 for 5 seconds after you throw the corrupted pearl, so obviously it's not great, and that's the only item you get. It's on a cooldown off the start of the game, so you can't use it to pearl into the middle immediately, at least not faster than someone could build into the middle. But if you think about it, you have one free chance every single game, as long as you're not hit off instantly, to save yourself and continue playing the game. which is a huge benefit. Even if it doesn't give you a lot else, it's still super good when you need it, and it saved me dozens and dozens of times just because I was able to pearl out to an island that didn't have anyone on it, and I could just sit there for those 5 seconds and try again. It's perfect for insane as well, because typically you won't even have to resort to using it if you do hit all of mid and you do get pearls. That's just a last resort at that point. But if you don't get any pearls from all of the mid, you will have that one safety pearl still automatically that you could use either to save yourself, or maybe even get to that last guy that's being super annoying and you don't want to build to him because he's like bow holding you or something. You can just pearl in behind him and hope for the best with the whole slowness thing. It's kind of a risky game there, but I've used it many times to do that as well. Now, a couple honorable mentions that I would like to throw in here are salmon. Yeah, what did you expect? There's not a lot else to say about that. Ender chest, which is a huge throwback. Most of you guys may not even remember it when it was not nerfed heavily. It was actually a very good kit. It often gave you an entire set of armor inside of that one chest. Obviously, it was nerfed shortly after because it was so good. In addition, it gave you a gapple. I do have a video on my channel of me using that, so feel free to go check that out if you care to see it before it was nerfed. And obviously, Energix didn't make the list because it was also nerfed, thank God. Thank you, Hypixel staff. It used to be a splash potion of strength, which you could never predict basically because it could be instantaneous and it could kill people as any other strength in the game pretty much instantly. So it's completely broken and overpowered and just ruined the entire composition of the game. So I was all for that patch. That kit is now very predictable and not very good, and I don't use it. So that's why it didn't make my list. Maybe some of you guys still do use that, but I don't really think it's all that good. Now getting into the solo normal kits, I'm not actually going to rank these in terms of my order because I don't play enough normal, and also because I've already mentioned a couple of those kits, so I don't really want to put them in the back again. I just want to mention them in the front. Obviously, Enderman is actually still pretty good in solo normal because it's very typical that you don't even get pearls in solo normal. If you have that one bonus pearl automatically, it's actually pretty nice for the same reasons that I described in solo insane. In addition, Troll Kit is still really good in solo normal. It's the same stuff, except the armor's a lot less strong. So having full leather automatically is actually pretty good. Talking about armor, the very obvious go-to in normal game modes, especially solo normal, is armor. You really can't go wrong with it. It's very hard to go wrong with it. It's 3/4 gold armor minus helmet. So solid. It's also good in solo insane. I didn't mention in there, but clearly you can use it to replace an armor piece you didn't actually get from your island, so it could save you in a fight. But solo normal, it dominates. It's a very common kit to see. There's not really much I have to talk about. It's just very straightforward. Now, another kit that I use a lot in solo normal is obviously Knight. It's kind of switches between armor and Knight, the offensive versus the defensive. Do you want to give more damage or do you want to take more damage? Knight is such a common kit that you'll see all the time in solo normal, as I'm sure most of you are aware. It's a sharpness 2 golden sword, which is actually better than an iron. So it's actually the best weapon you could get out of the starting island until you go to mid. You could argue that the fire aspect iron is actually better, but still, damage wise, it's actually still goes to the gold sharp 2. You don't only get the gold sharp 2, you also get a gold prot 1 helmet, which in itself may not seem like much, but it does actually help because oftentimes you won't find a good helmet on the starting islands. You have to go to middle to actually receive the diamond helmet, but obviously you'd exchange it at that point. But having those two things combined, as long as you have blocks, you can actually rush islands very quickly. The map that comes to mind immediately is Shire, obviously, as you can see here. I actually think that rushing on Shire is way easier on the normal Shire, not the Halloween version, but that's what I had to work with. It's a very standard kit that a lot of people use, and it doesn't really require too much explanation because it's pretty obvious that it's a very solid kit. The very last kit that I wanted to mention on this list is Princess. This is also a very good kit, potentially in solo insane. However, a flame 1 bow, which is what you get, and full leather optionally, is not very good in insane unless you can anvil, in which case it's very good. If you get a flame power 5, for example, it is very good. But it is actually a lot better in solo normal because the fact that you get 14 durability on that flame bow, and a lot of the times, if people don't have water, regardless if they don't have water, they take a little bit to put themselves out. And a flame one bow is a very good offensive weapon in a game mode where people don't have a lot of armor to begin with. So I actually think it's a very good kit because of the fact that you get a singular arrow plus optional different colored full sets of leather armor, and then obviously all the armor that you can get on your spawn island. You end up looking pretty geared, and if you can find more arrows and even find an anvil to create maybe a power 1 or 2 flame 1 in normal, it's going to decimate anyone that you shoot that at. Now, an honorable mention for solo normal is actually Disco. I know it's a pretty solid kit, as you do get full assorted armor with different enchantments on it, but I just haven't used that kit enough to really know if that's something that I would go. Personally, I have tried it out and I don't think it's all that crazy, but it is a pretty good class because you do also get blocks with it along with your armor. So I could definitely see that being on some people's lists. But that's pretty much it in terms of the kits that I use. Hopefully I didn't leave out anything. In these videos I typically do leave out some huge point that I was trying to make earlier or thought of earlier and never included in the video, but that's for me to figure out in editing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and it wasn't too boring. I tried to make this one pretty different from my normal videos, so hopefully you guys liked it. I would love to do another one. I love these type of videos, super fun to make. But if you do want me to do something else talking about other kits or other strategies or just Minecraft in general, things the way I play, I don't know, leave it in the comments if you want to see something, but also leave a like. It'll let me know that you guys do want to see these type of videos. Subscribe if you're brand new. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.